Hey, this is Matt Johnson. We are back again with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about how to discover your unique edge, and we have a very special guest with us today. We'll get to her in a second, introduce her, tell you all about her. Before that, I just want to speak to anyone that might be watching the replay here on YouTube. Go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you get all of our future videos as well as real estate coaching content. And if you prefer the audio version, just nestled right here in your earbuds, head on over to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe there. So as always, I'm joined in the co-pilot seat the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniel. What is up today?
What's up, Matt, my dear good friend? Hey, buddy. As we come to the end of this year, you know what? I was just on a blab. I do with Toby from Super Agents Live, and I made a proclamation. I said that I was going to write my 2016 goals, and that I'm going to put put a plan in action, how to make them come true.
And exactly how many legal paths did that take up?
6.
Okay. It's a little low for you, but all right.
One for every goal. No, but seriously, smartass. He challenged me to put a timeline to him and then do benchmarks, and then every 100 days of every 100 days is going to be how far I'm going to be, and then make them public. So everyone who's watching, yes, I am going to hopefully not publicly shame myself, but I am going to give my goals to you, and I want you guys to keep me accountable to them, help me achieve them, and I want you guys to do the same to both me and Matt. Both email everything to Matt. He would love to review it.
That's right. I have unlimited time. And once you get a chance to see Greg's goals, feel free to go back and look at the episode about wildly different approaches to goal setting in 2016, where I yelled at Greg about his goal setting strategy.
Yes, but I still won that
was
debate.
a fun one. Exactly. I'm sure you did.
I still won that debate.
So we've got, we're going to bring in our special guest, and then we'll get to a question from the Facebook group, from the Lead Gen Description Objections group. So the special guest is Genny Williams, the six-figure real estate coach. We also do a series where I help Genny co-host that and bring in interviews with other top agents, so you can check that out. It's called 60 Minutes to Six Figures. It's an awesome kind of a monthly hangout that we do, and we've been doing that off and on for, what, I think over a year now, Genny?
Yeah, we have all kinds of fun together.
We do. So so tell everyone kind of where you're based and who you work with, what types of clients you're working with, what you're coaching them to do.
Sure. My name is Genny Williams, and I am known as a six-figure coach because I help people get to that six-figure income and then go beyond. I'm really excited this year because we have 4 clients who have made their goals to bring in $1 million. This year, so in 2016. So that's fun. I'm based in Birmingham, but we help real estate agents and lenders all across the country.
And as, you also are able to help business owners in other industries. In fact, we just did kind of a small business summit where you brought in people from small business marketing and recruiting and CPA and lawyer and all kinds of stuff. Like, I mean, you're able to, the process that we're going to take people through today in terms of how to find your unique edge is something that applies to really anybody in all industries. If you're an entrepreneurial professional, no matter what industry you happen to be in, these principles apply to you, and Genny can help you find what your unique edge is and then form a marketing message to attract your ideal clients. That transcends, real estate, right, Genny?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, my husband is a home builder, and it works in his business. It works with any person who is in sales or owns a small business, because we all have things that make us stand out. We just probably don't use them in our marketing because we want to look like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's pretty darn boring. And I think if you keep up what you're doing, you're going to need to change your name to the 7-figure coach. This whole 6-figure thing's
17.
Exactly.
That's Greg's motto. It's think bigger. You're not thinking big enough.
Well, 8-figure coach. Let's just go for it.
Exactly. I actually ran across that today.
Really?
So yeah, it was. I've been researching the recruiting industry for a podcast I'm producing for another client, and there's a guy whose tagline is, "I will teach you how to build an 8-figure recruiting search firm."
Let's call him out. Let's call him out on the carpet and see if he can actually do that. Let's get him on one. Let's get him on both of our shows.
That's right.
All 8 figures over there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's including decimal points or not.
So let's go back to 6.
Okay, so I want to get to a question from the Facebook group. It's the Lead Gen Description Objections group run by our friend Aaron Wittenstein. So if you're not already a member of that group, they are 15,000 and growing. It's a great, vibrant group of agents that are all giving each other feedback and help. It's facebook.com/group/gotobjections. So David McLaughlin asks, in your experience, why do buyers generally say, quote, "I want to work with a listing agent," and how do you respond to that? So what say you, Greg?
Matt, I say, I can't resist but doing that when you do that. But what I say to this is I ask them a question. Well, okay, why do you feel that you'll get a better deal by working with the listing agent? And generally, they say that they think they're going to get a better deal because they're going to get, they'll be able to, get a better, lower cost or price or whatnot. But in reality, guys, legally speaking, that's completely fake and false. There is a fiduciary relationship signed when that listing document is signed. That listing agent is obligated to get the highest and best price for that home. Now that is where a buyer's agent comes in, because that fiduciary relationship is signed with that relationship agency agreement. It says same thing, but it's the lowest and best price. You need someone in your corner. You need a buyer's agent in your corner, putting on their armor, going to battle for you, ready to chop the seller's knees off, so you guys can get in the right house. Now, most listing agents are not going to slit their own throat like that. They're just not. I mean, they might say, well, I'm going to get double the commission and everything else, but most smart sellers are going to be like, if you're double ending it, then I sure as heck don't want to pay the full commission, and then they're going to get undercut again. So where's their negotiating abilities? They just lost them. They just lost to their own client on their negotiating. So that's what I would say, guys. Always get an agent to back you up as a buyer. And you know what? You're not going to get a better deal with a listing agent. That's been my opinion. But Jenny, what about you? I mean, I know that you coach a lot of folks. What's your response on that?
And I agree. A lot of people think that they're going to get a much better deal by going straight to the listing agent. And sometimes it is because they'll sign, some agents will sign listing agreements saying, if I bring the buyer, I'll do it, for a lesser amount. That's the first thing we need to address. We've got to stop doing that, because it's a fallacy. It's few listing agents ever bring in the buyer anyway, so that's going to take some education. But what I like to encourage our clients to do is to actually know what your stats are. How much money are you saving on average for your buyer clients? And then I want you to stand up and say, listen, my buyer clients on average save over $13,262. So I know that I will be able to go in and fight for you and get you a better deal than most listing agents ever could, because for the same reasons you said. So if you keep a spreadsheet of those buyer savings, for instance, I have one team that I have a spreadsheet, and they keep up with their numbers, and they've already saved their buyers this year over $1.5 million. Wow. I'm interested in that. That catches my attention. And I'm going to be able to, get you away from that idea that you're going to get a better deal with a listing agent if I know my numbers and can show them to you. So.
No, absolutely. It all does.
That's what was so impressive about Justin Moy, who we interviewed last week. I mean, this is a guy that's been in the business for about a year, but he has done exactly that. He's got all of his stats tracked in an Excel spreadsheet, and he can show them, the average price, the average buyer deal, they get it for about 98% of list price. He gets it for about 96% of list price or whatever, which is great for like the Bay Area. So he's able to show in tangible numbers and percentage points exactly what kind of a deal he's getting for his buyers. So, I mean, it's not that hard to track. I mean, just a couple of metrics per deal. I mean, we're talking about 6, 10, 15 deals. 30 seconds to keep track of that stuff is not that much, and it gives you an extremely powerful message to give to buyers.
Well, actually, our MLS tracks it on the bottom of the MLS sheet. So once they're sold, it's going to say sold for 94%, 90%, 103%, whatever that price is of that home. You can just take those and just push them right over. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here are a couple of our past sales that we did. By the way, we represented the buyer on this. That was a 94% of the listing price. Here, we represented the seller, 106% of the sales price. Push them over as real properties. I don't know if everyone has that in their MLS, but it's very helpful for us.
Well, and if you count your concessions too, because you may have to go in and get closing costs covered for a client, or extra concessions like maybe a privacy fence or whatnot. That takes negotiating skill to be able to get that done for your client, and you need to get credit for that. So you need to go in and be able to also, it's not really even just a percentage of that list price.
I completely agree with you. What you said just brought something to mind for me, is the fact that when, like last year, we were in a troubled deal, and so at the drop of a hat, my lender calls me, who I've used forever, and goes, "Hey, Greg, do you want to buy a car today?" I'm like, "Not really, but why are you asking me?" And the buyer, Mr. Buyer, who was a complete douche, he decided to not make his girlfriend's or fiance's payment on the car, and if the bank had seen that, they would have not done the deal. And we were at the 1 yard line of this deal. So I went and bought a $26,000 car in one day, just so we can get the deal done. Right now, we have a cat housed at my parents' house because our buyers couldn't. We had to get out of the house so that they could buy one of our other listings. They could find a place for the dog, but they couldn't find a place for the cat. So guess what? Hey, Mom and Dad, you got a cat for 2 weeks. And so, but you can tout those stories too, above and beyond. Why am I going to hire you versus Matt? Well, because I take in lost cats and I buy cars.
Definitely lead with that.
We just bought on a house that we flipped last year. We bought a Chevy pickup truck.
There you go. You did the same thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I didn't need that third car.
Only knew that.
But that's true, though. That's what makes you stand out as an agent. You know, if you have the ability, the wherewithal to buy the car, but if not, find, you know, or just take in the cat, do whatever you can, think outside the box, because that is what's going to help you stand out, guys. Most agents are so cardboard and vanilla that they all blend together. It's a sea of bleh out there. So stand out.
It's a sea of blah. I like that.
I agree.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so Jenny, I mean, just so people know, you are. And I know this about you because we talk about it, which I find endlessly hilarious because I know what it's like to be in your shoes. You go beyond like coaching, and you're helping agents do their marketing, and God bless you, because good Lord, I cannot. Just the amount of stuff that you see from other agents when they come to you, you must just sigh, laugh, want to throw yourself off a building. I'm not quite sure, like a mixture of all three.
Just start crying.
Yeah, just break down and cry. Yeah.
There definitely are a lot of tears around here, but it mostly makes me, you know, I'm kind of like with Greg. I mostly just get bored because it all looks the same, and that's what I get tired about. And you know, going back to this question about standing out, and you've got to get to that consumer before they contact the listing agent. For the agent who asked that question, so you have to stand out ahead of time and show them that there's a reason to contact you and not the listing agent. By the time you finish, you know, you grab their attention by using your numbers, by using these stories like Greg was talking about. Then when somebody meets with you and goes through a consultation, they're going to say, I would never even dream of buying a house with anyone but you. So that's where your really good marketing comes into play. It's not really the script, because you're kind of behind the game when you're having to deal with the script of why they shouldn't go with the listing agent. You want to catch them ahead so that you can prove to them that they would never dream of going to a listing agent. So.
You know what? Jenny, you bring up a really good point, and I'm sure you get asked this all the time, and I do too. It's like, and this is the question. So, what's the best closing techniques? And it's just like, you're doing it wrong, player. Look, you got to start off with, look, how much. There has to be a value rocket ship that you're putting them on. But by the end of that meeting, they're not going, man, we got to interview some other people. It's more like, so when do we get started? You know, I'm done. I'm good. Boom. I'll press hard. There's 3 copies. I'll use black ink. Let's go. You know.
How many signatures? Was this like initial or okay?
Well, yeah. It's signature.
It's true though, and yeah, and I think we can talk about this in terms of like the unique edge and stuff like that. But it seems to me that there's such a fear among agents and small business owners are like this too, where they're so afraid of repelling anybody because they feel like they need to appeal to everyone that they end up appealing to absolutely no one, because all that they can do is just say that they're just chock full of integrity and honesty and other
and they're number one.
Fuzzy words.
Matt, they're number one in the market. They're number one.
Oh, Greg, please share that.
Oh, God. It's like, I'm number one, guys. Number what? Number one what? Dog walker? Number one cake maker? What are you number one at? Damn it. You're new in the business. You've sold 1 condo. How are you new? Are you number one? And
I'm
off myself.
in the new agent category.
Yes, I'm number one because this is my first day.
You can still find that unique edge, Greg. I mean, yesterday we can still find where they stand out.
Oh my goodness.
But I think Matt, you brought up a good point. When you're talking about integrity and trustworthy and honest, then you're pretty much saying, don't trust me. Anybody who has those kind of words in their marketing, I mean, you're sending a red flag that says, I will definitely never call them, because anybody who feels the need to say that they have integrity has none.
Yes.
That is something that other people will say about you because you've proven it, not something that you should ever say about yourself. So,
Yeah.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, the sayings that, walk softly but carry a big bat. I mean, that's exactly what that is, because you don't have to go out there and toot your own horn. Everyone's tooting your own horn. They're saying, like, dude, that that guy is one skinky guy. Do not trust that man. He will stab you in the back. But that Jeannie girl, my word, that woman is just honest as day is long.
now I have to tell you that Matt gets different kind of comments on mine. I get text messages, I'm watching your hangout now. What a cutie he is. So.
Matt, you have admirers.
You added the skanky part.
Yeah, well, yeah. Greg is great at making sure that my ego stays nice and low.
You're pretty good at that too for me, pal.
But no, I mean, Greg, I think that really what you're saying though is it's not tuning your own horn; it's providing value to the consumer. Everybody looks the same, so really, a consumer doesn't know who to choose. That's why they go to the listing agent, because they don't know who else to call. So they see the sign and they feel like, I don't know anybody else. Nobody else has stood out in my mind, or I don't know who could help me and why they're valuable or why I should choose them. So yeah, I'm going to call the person on the side. And then they start thinking it's going to be a better deal. But most of the time, it starts out because it's convenient. They don't know who else to contact.
100% correct. 100% correct.
All right. Well, should we, before we transition and get into the real meat of it, where we talk about the questions that you need to ask yourself to discover your unique edge, I want to give a couple of shout-outs and then give you, Greg, a chance to give some shout-outs to some people. So number one, to our lovely and talented sponsors like Viral Marketing, who write a check of cold hard cash to make podcasts and hangouts like these happen. Just want to thank them. So check them out at getviral.com. And then Equity, online buyer lead generation platform that's built from the ground up for solo agents. If you want to find out more about that, just hit up Greg, take the McDaniel Challenge. And Greg, how does one take the McDaniel Challenge?
Matt, that's a phenomenal question. I'm really glad you asked. I've been holding my breath waiting until you're going to ask me that.
I'm sure. If only you would actually hold your breath for anything longer than 30 seconds.
And look, he's
looking blue over there.
He's finally silent. He's finally silent. Okay, so McDaniel Challenge, guys, there's a couple ways you can get a hold of me. My favorite is carrier pigeon and smoke signals on strong windy days. But besides that, it would be phone numbers, guys. My phone number, my cell, my personal cell. Test it, see if it is me. Text me or call me. It's 925-915-1978. Again, 925-915-1978. Take the McDaniel Challenge, guys. Get a hold of me. I am booked all the way through until the beginning of next year. So I want to start booking up times for the first week. I have Monday booked of 2016. But take an hour of time, guys, from 6 p.m. till 7, or more like when I do this at 7:30. You get a 1 hour of free live coaching with me. Come with anything that's stopping you, that's hampering you from being successful. We will work through the problem together. Put some action items in there so that when you walk away, you'll have an action plan to go start making money. I love doing this, you guys. Do not make me spend a night alone. I do not like spending a night alone. It makes me feel very uncomfortable and unloved.
Okay. And if anybody's listening to this on the audio version or in the car and you cannot write down that phone number, just go to McDanielChallenge.com and you can find that information. So, Greg, who do you want to shout out today?
Okay, so the last episode, I told you guys I was going to do my first international coaching call. So I did. It was Alex out of Australia. Super cool dude, man. He's actually from the States. He married an Australian gal. They have 2 beautiful daughters down there. Did you know that Australia, they don't do buyers at all? They only go after listings. The buyers represent themselves. The listing agents have an auction, and then it goes to the highest bidder. And then the buyer negotiates just the terms, and they already come in with their own pricing. And then if they don't perform on their contract, there's a 10% of that listing price goes hard immediately and goes back to the seller if they don't perform.
Whoa.
I did not know that. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
shit.
I knew the structure was different. I heard a little bit about the auction system, but I didn't know buyers came in unrepresented with like a 10% penalty hanging over their head. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yes, it's super cool. But he and I are going to do a blab and talk about the differences and the different ways that real estate are done in different parts of the world. So I'm looking forward to that. Last night, talked to Janet. Janet, you are so awesome to talk to, and I hope that everything up there in Bothell, I know that you're going to become #1 in Bothell from the different ideas of high tech and high touch that we put together, so thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And then, Trey, yesterday you hit me up, man. Thanks for the heads up in regards to how our podcast on iTunes wasn't playing the right one. Really appreciate that. Anyone else notice anything, like if something technically goes wrong with us, guys, hit us up, let us know. We're not all, we can't know everything, but I hope you got the information you're looking for, buddy. And then, Brian, great talking with you last night over text. Look forward to chatting with you. First coaching client of 2016, so I look forward to, my friend. All of you, if I don't talk to you till then, stay safe, and thank you for reaching out. Take the McDaniel challenge, guys. Don't be a fool. Take the challenge.
All right.
I should be wearing like a bunch of metal gold chains to be Mr. T and have a frohawk. Don't be a fool.
You actually did have a frohawk for a while there. I would just like to remind the viewers of that. Feel free to go back to earlier episodes and find the faux hawk.
That's what you call public shaming, you jerk.
You're the one with the haircut. I have that. That's all I can say about that. Anyway, so Jenny, I would just want to refresh people's memory maybe on why we kind of had you. I've been telling people on the show that you're coming on and kind of why, but basically this all came about from a hangout that you and I did with someone that attended a live workshop that you do. You do a lot of those down in the South. And she came through your workshop and was interested in going through this process with you. So we actually brought her on the air, and you took her through this process live. So tell us a little bit about that experience and what you do with agents, whether that's on a hangout or whether it's in a lot like a coaching session. Like, how are you taking them through the process of kind of finding their unique edge? What are you looking for, and what do they come out of that process with?
Well, what was fun about that hangout is I was teaching business planning in Huntsville, Alabama, and I said, hey, I want to volunteer. Who wants to come online with me and do a Google Hangout, and we'll take you through the entire process of really, finding how you stand out of the clutter so that we can develop your marketing message. And this girl in the front row was like, me. I said, all right, you got it. And she goes, I'm brand new.
Oh, great.
And she was really so sweet. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to I'm going to be authentic to that. She wanted to be a part of it, and so everybody stands out, no matter where you are as far as experience, and we just have to figure it out. So, it's a series of questions just to find out the patterns that will keep evolving and keep coming up. You kind of start with those skill sets that you have, that people, either your friends have told you that you're really good at doing, or like for me, writing, Matt and I, we've talked about this a lot. I love to write copy, and ever since, I was young, I always did well in those classes, and then when I went to college, I would have my friends' parents hire me to write their resumes because they would say, there's just something you do that I always get the interview, and that spread like wildfire because I was helping their parents stand out. And what do I do for a living today? I help people stand out. So there's usually a skill set involved, and so usually about 3 that there's a pattern in people's lives that they find that they're really good at doing. They get feedback from friends, family members, coworkers, and that is like the first place that you really try to find that edge, that unique edge.
Gotcha. So you're looking first to their background, to the feedback that they're getting from other people, and uncovering things that they probably take for granted. So these are the things that they're just going about, they're just naturally talented at, or that it's naturally maybe a part of their work background, for example. I mean, and this is something that, Greg, you've done with people where that you've discovered in coaching calls that they have some really unique background work experience, and they have all these connections and stuff like that, and people just, they don't think about it. They think like, it's very weird. Just so many people come to things with like everything is a blank sheet of paper, and they don't look at their background. I mean, Greg, you've had that experience before. If you can, we're getting like the exact.
Well, they're all uniquely different. That's the one thing I love. Like, there's this one guy. Shit, I'm totally forgetting your name right now. But he's a law enforcement officer. He's been into corrections, did federal protection, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, dude, why don't you run protection seminars, show people how to protect themselves, their homes, their families, how to properly use a concealed weapon, because in his state you can have them up there. Too bad they don't let us have them here in California. But you know, that kind of stuff. And I know, Jenny, that's kind of what you do. And it's like having that aha moment when you see that person and you're like, holy shit, I got it. I know what you're good at. Here's how it's going to work. And they're like, what happened? Oh my God. Okay. Oh, that does work. Okay, I like that. Oh, that's prospecting. That's work. Okay, I like real estate now.
Well, but no, that really is, because once you find what the skill set is, what they're interested in doing, and actually what they'll commit to doing, then you can kind of match them to the right kind of prospecting methods where it doesn't feel like prospecting, and it's easier to attract business to you.
100%.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we talk a lot about on the show, and we should do an entire show on matching prospecting methods to your disc profile, because I think that's where a lot of people probably fail a lot, is just listening to all the advice in the industry and saying you have to do this, whether it's calls, whether it's door knocks or whatever,
Right.
and they're starting from what's working for somebody else rather than starting from their own personality and figuring what they can actually commit to.
Whew,
Yeah.
that is like a huge mistake. So you're so right. In fact, I've got one of my lender clients. You know, he's been beating himself up because all you hear is time blocking, time blocking, time blocking, time blocking. And, you know, Greg, I'm sure that you've heard this too, like, I just can't get my time blocking in, right? And so people will start ignoring you because they're not time blocking, because they feel like there's, you know, should all over themselves. And,
I love that saying.
you know, I hate that. I just want, like, we just need to remove that. And so I have a 100-point day. Like, it's a game. So for my guys who love sports, they enjoy this. And as long as you get 100 points within your day, I don't care when and how you do it, you get 80 to 100 points, and you nailed your day productive. And I don't care if you take 2 hours off to play on Facebook. As long as you have a 100-point day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
How do you rank the points? I'm just curious on that. Do they rank it themselves, or do you set? Is that some part of your preparatory? Is that part of your system?
It is each productive item, task has a point to it. So
Interesting.
some are more productive than others. So like if you have a new client appointment, that is going to be you know, your highest point that you've got. I'll be happy to email anybody. It's called my 6-figure day. And when you get 100 points, then you know you've nailed your 6-figure day. And if you want to go beyond that, then there are certain other things that you need to make sure that's on your 6-figure day. But anyway, it's fun because you can kind of play a game, and you also put, you know, the right prospecting in for you that matches you on it.
It does. You know, our lives today, day and age, is so fluid. I mean, we have multiple live streaming video apps. Facebook just came out with their live video streaming stuff. Things are popping up at us so fast that when you say time block, it's more of a suggestion, and it really comes down to you as a person, if that's your personality, if that's going to work for you and your business. I mean, my business partner, Chris Callahan, we call it his mobile marketing time frame. He's an avid cyclist, and he's on a racing team and everything else. And when he first started, he was just out having fun with his buddies riding on the team. But then he started. It was his marketing. We've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We just sold a $4.4 million home from him wearing spandex, sitting on 2 little tiny wheels, going, you know, riding 100 miles. So I mean, that's kind of like what you're saying.
I have clients that do centuries also.
Oh, I don't know how they sit on those little tiny seats for that long. I mean, my Lord, that would hurt. I mean, I did cycling once a week, and I one time a week for 25 miles. I'm like, that is it. I didn't even leave the room, and my butt hurts. So God bless
I
them.
couldn't do it either. My cyclers are females, though.
Okay, well.
Yeah, my dad tried to get me into that. He was
so much he wanted to say there.
Let's going through kind of your some of the other questions that you take people through, Jenny, when you're going through this process with an agent, whether they're new or not is irrelevant really. So you'll also take them through kind of what are one thing that they do if they've been in the business. You kind of take them through like one thing that they do best, and then maybe some of the background positions, whether it's responsibilities or jobs that they've had in the past, and then talk about like how do you get someone to kind of go through their past and look at what their success story is and find that thing that reveals something unique about them.
Well, we all know that one client that we've had, and even if you're brand new, because it might be just that one client that you've had.
Justin Moy.
Yeah. that it really stands out as a success story. And I can tell you that early on, my favorite success story was Jason Secor, who went from $120,000 in income to $340 in less than 12 months. And that's fun to me. He stands out. I know exactly what we did to recreate his business. And you probably know who that is in your business. And, you start there. And it could be that you've only had one success story that even sticks out. Well, tell me about that. Tell me about that transformation. How did you help them make that transformation? And if it's a buyer or seller, then I want you to be thinking, well, it sold in 2 days. Well, how did you help them sell in 2 days? What kind of prep work did you, put into that on the front end? Tell the story about how that transformation happened. What was the feedback that you got from that client? What was the feedback that was from the other agent and the consumer on the other side? Those are the things that you use to be able to kind of, add to that unique edge story, because this is all a process that you create, and it's the image that you provide and the value that you provide.
100%. I tell people all the time that, like you're saying in the beginning, people only know, like if you're talking to another customer, like another buyer or seller, they only know what you tell them, okay? So if you tell them a success story, they think you're successful. If you say, hey, guys, congratulations, you're working with me. It's my first day. Haven't done this before. Let's not crash and burn together. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm trying to figure out, Greg, if you're advising people not to do that or to do that.
Don't do that.
Oh,
don't do that. Okay. Follow Genny. Follow the success story. Always do the success.
Well, it's like an iceberg, right? So if you seem like you have your act together and you're able to tell a compelling story, and you have your facts and figures there, and you have kind of your bullet points outlined of what that story was, as far as they're concerned, that could just be the tip of the iceberg. That might just be the one example you picked out of dozens, for all they know. And if you go into it with that attitude, then you convey that.
Well, yeah, your verbiage is the verbiage would be like, you know what? Hey, you know what? The first one that comes to mind is, or my favorite one is.
That's really good. I like that. But there's something too authentic to what he was saying, even though he was, being jovial and funny. It's okay to say this is my first deal. It's okay to say, you know what, I've been training for this, and you know what, I'm going to make your story a success story. It's okay to say that, to be authentic and be real, because one, you're going to be forgiven for mistakes instead of trying to pretend to be something that you're not, and people really want to help you if it's your, you can use that first story for a long time. It's when you're, I tease, Kimberly says this all the time, she's a coach in our business, when you're in your 5th year and you still tell everybody you're new, it doesn't work quite well. That's a little old, but there's something about being new where as long as you are, have some sense of credibility about how you carry yourself, people want to go out and they want to help you. Everybody wants to be your first one.
Interesting perspective. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody. I intentionally didn't even go to people I knew because I didn't want to tell anybody I was new. So anyway. Well,
I told everybody I was brand new, but I also said, you know what, I've been working I have a marketing degree, and I also have my father, he was a real estate broker my entire life. So yes, I've been dragged into the business kicking and screaming, and I also have been working in marketing, casino marketing. And I may be brand new at selling a house, but I know how to make it happen. And I ended up between May and December, my first year, closing 18 transactions, and 25 years old and pregnant, like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe. So you use what you got, Matt, is what I'm saying. You find that edge.
So you found your 3 things. So your 3 things were, what would you say, marketing, copywriting, and the ability to make something happen, just sales ability, prospecting.
Yeah, just that marketing experience and being in the business, having grown up in the business, even though I
Yeah,
hate
and
it.
that's the same way it was for Greg. I mean, Greg, your dad is, we refer to you as the junior grandmaster because of your dad. He is the actual grandmaster.
He is the grandmaster. He's like a wizard of real estate. Not to get weird or anything like that. I mean, he does things like he will pull a script or a technique out of his ears when we're at an open house, and I'll be like, "How do you do that? I still want to learn how to do that."
That's so funny. Our dads sound very similar because there was nothing that I could ever copy that he was doing because it was very authentic to his own style. He is just such a good salesperson. He, like you were talking about closing, and he just has a way of just very persuasive. And so I felt like I had to go the opposite direction because I knew I could never match up to that kind of skill set. So I went very consultative and educational for my clients because I always felt like he's the guy who can, I mean, seriously, I've watched him sell 2-bedroom houses to families of 5. And
How does that work?
Wow.
And they were on stilts.
What?
He's just really good at being persuasive.
That's hilarious.
Does he use a gun by chance? That is amazing. All joking around.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Okay, so you have you're going through this process. You kind of have an idea of what your top 2 or 3 skill sets are. Now you have your success story, right?
Right.
So to me, the other kind of component of this, you start with yourself, but then the other component is your client. You have the people that you actually want to work with, and you're really good, Jenny, about taking your clients through and really forcing them to look at who do they really want to work with, not who do they work with currently, not who do they see everybody else working with. And we talked about this on your goal setting hangout, which was our last one, just going into 2016.
Right.
So you talked a lot about kind of go through the process that you take people through on how to really envision their ideal client.
Well, you want to start with who you don't want to work with. Okay. If you're having a hard time figuring out, well, I don't know, who do I really want to work with? Well, do they have good credit? Do they listen to your advice? Do they live in neighborhoods where you feel safe? These are all, I mean, they sound, like funny questions, but it's true. I mean, I've had agents tell me, well, I only want to specialize in lease purchase. I'm like, why would you purposely do that to yourself?
Yeah.
And how often is that paying off for you? Oh, well, I hadn't made anything yet. And how many those have you done?
Fascinating. I'm riveted.
So, you want to start with, making that list of who you don't want. And, for my lenders, we laugh and say, how many people do you want calling you with 550 credit scores?
0.
0. So you want to be clear on so that your marketing message really is formulated for that person you want to attract, because you only have so much time that you can invest in your business. So you might as well work with people that you really know that you can help, that you can have success stories with every single one, that you enjoy their company, because then it won't be like work at all. It'll be fun. So a lot of people, I think, are afraid to think of their ideal client. Maybe 1, they think maybe they're not worthy, or 2, they're not experienced enough to work with a certain client. Like in a higher niche maybe, or maybe they feel like, well, I don't live in, that kind of subdivision, or I don't live in that sort of neighborhood, so why would anybody hire me? Well, first of all, no, it's rare for people to ask you where you live, and I have people that really, no joke, live in double-wide mobile homes that sell the hell out of real estate. And so you don't have to live in a home. I have another lady who has been in the business for 30 years, and she's lived in an apartment for 30 years. And the woman sells high-end luxury real estate. So it all depends on what's going on in your head, and knowing that you have the value to provide to the client that you want. Doesn't matter where you are in life.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, you nailed it. You get it. I get it. Like, well, how can I sell into that higher niche? How can I rent? How can I do this? What was the average? There was some stupid average, like 47% or a higher percentage of all real estate agents rent. You know, but they're selling $1 million homes all day long.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It's in the 40s?
Yeah, it's
that's
a ridiculously
awesome.
high number. You're just like, really? And I'm trusting you? Well, yeah, because you go out there and you own your space. You know, you set the ground rules because you set your body language up to the fact with your clothes, what you drive. I mean, go get a used car, guys. Go get something that's a nice used car for a good value. Keep it in good shape. Keep it clean. Dress nicely. You don't have to wear Louis Vuitton. Go down and get some nice stuff that fits you well, that you can really feel comfortable in. Then that's going to be projected to them that you feel good in what you're doing and you're confident. That they will gravitate towards you like you wouldn't believe. They'll flock to you on this. But Jenny, the building the avatar that you were talking about, like your personal favorite client, I was once told, and I really like doing it myself, and this is a thing you can do for a listing appointment, and it would be good to kind of help an agent identify their core market, is go into Facebook and go into, like, if you're going to create an ad in different cities, and then identify the different traits you want to go after for the different types of people: companies, hobbies, genders, ages, family statuses, you know, all marital statuses, all these different things, because then you're going to be able to find that core number of people just on Facebook that would be, you know, your potential clients. That you could maybe go after, but you use that for the listing side as well, because you come in and say, you know, Matt, you know, I've identified that I think for your home, since it's a 4-bed, 3.5 bath on a half an acre of property in such and such town, I think that right now I know that there is 11,332 prospective people that I know that would be a good buyer for you. Jenny, do you do that with your people? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's a great idea.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could bring value.
Well, there's one.
One, you got 9 more to go, buddy. The show's shortening up.
I'm just teasing.
Well, let's talk about messaging, right? So one of the things that that final step, or one of the final pieces of that process of finding your unique edge, is not just knowing it for yourself and not just understanding who you would like to have as clients, but then you got to figure out how to match those two things up, right? So you know what you like to do, you know what kind of prospecting you like, you know what you're good at, you know who you want to work with. Now, how do you bring those two things together and actually create a message that the people you want to work with actually care about?
Well, yeah, actually care about. There's the key, right? So I'll give you, instead of telling stories, I like to give you like real world, I guess, people that have achieved this. So one of my clients, he is 65 years old, and he is just tired of working referrals because he didn't want to continue working the city. I mean, a lot of times you're going to get referred all over the place when you do a great job doing referrals. So he really wanted to focus in and said, you know, I want to work my own neighborhood. I don't really want to go out of the gates of my own neighborhood. There's the average sales price in there is, you know, close to $400,000. And I could make plenty of money just working my own neighborhood. So we had to get the message that, you know, made him stand out in that neighborhood. And he's already closed over $15 million this year, no assistant, working his own neighborhood. It took us some time to get there. We researched the competition and you know, really took a look at what their messaging was, and it's boring. It's like everybody else's, so it was easy to stand out. And, you know, I know you were laughing about the number one, but, you know, people always ask that question. People ask, well, who's the number one? Well, who's the top agent in here? I mean, that is a common question, so you do need to know who is number one. And he wasn't at the time. He was like between 3 and 5. So we had to help him get that presence up, and we did that through heavy direct mail and a lot of branding for just that neighborhood. Like, you know, showing that he has the solutions for anybody who was selling in that neighborhood, because one, he lives there, one, he's helped, you know, all of these people move in and out of that neighborhood, and he became the Highland Lakes guy. The domain name matched up, so everything matches up. But he had to also get involved with the people in the community. So community events, the men's club and direct mail marketing, and he is by far now the #1 agent in that neighborhood, and making a really good living at, over 15 million without an assistant's pretty good, I would say. So
really
that,
good.
yeah, that he had to come up with messaging that, and he's aggressive, so it has to match his style, plus show his aggressive nature in his direct mail pieces to those people that lived in that neighborhood. And some of that is, other people can't get away with it, but he'll say there are lots of choices in selling your house, but there's only one right choice. And and we provide why. We provide the why they're a right choice. But really, in the end, it's not about him anyway. It's about what the sellers get out of it. And we've also shown his stats based on houses that expire in there and what he's able to do in a short amount of time whenever he steps up and takes over the property. So it's building that message and being very consistent with it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. What would you say, Greg? Just I'm curious. What would you say the McDaniel Callahan team's message is to your marketplace?
We are a family-based team. We've been working this marketplace for 29 years. We're a team of 7. We are consistently in the top 3% of our company. We have over 85 to 90 years of experience. The corporate trainer, myself, for J. Rocklip, the largest brokerage here in the neighborhoods, will be helping you work with your marketing. You have the Eileen, who's not here today. She hates doing videos. And she will answer the phone consistently. She'll be available for you. We're a one-stop shop. Everything and anything you need for real estate, from the negotiating the deal, writing the contracts, to finding the movers or getting a gardener. We have everything at one touch of a click of a mouse, and we'll be able to take care of you guys and help your family transfer from one part of life to the next part of life as seamlessly as humanly possible. So that's.
And just as an example, that's. Number 1, Greg, you have all that off the top of your head. Number 2, if you distill all that down, it's experience, one-stop shop team, and relationships. You guys have just incredibly depth and breadth of relationships in the community. That translates in. You can get into we help you find off-market properties. We have all these relationships with builders and secret MLS and all this stuff. But exactly when you go to talk to somebody, how you want to present and phrase the things that they're looking for that will make a difference to the sellers in those neighborhoods. So if you're an agent, it's the same process.
Yeah, they don't want the run-of-the-mill agents. Well, I keep bashing on number 1 just because everyone in my marketplace says it and drives me batshit crazy. But what they want is something they want something uniquely tailored for them and their needs.
That's right.
And so that's what we try to deliver that to them in every scenario. And once you get confident and comfortable in your own skin and comfortable with your value-add proposition, guys, I closed a $3 million listing in my jeans sitting in their backyard, chatting it up. It doesn't matter the $3 million listing or $150,000 condo. Just own your space, be confident and comfortable, and have your value-add down, and just stand behind it solidly. Even when they ask you for a price reduction, what just happened to me about 30 days ago, my last buyer, he's like, well, do you think you could cut it to 4%? And I turned to him very calmly. I said, you know what? You get what you pay for, and our team is worth every cent. So no, in this instance, no, we will not be cutting our commissions. And I sat there literally and then his wife's like, shut up, David. I want the house. I'm like, thank you. Oh, thank you, God, she came in. Oh, now I can breathe. But yeah, that's what we do.
Well, and you're going to get asked that every once in a while, so you can't be upset about it. It's the way of the world today. But when you're attracting more of your ideal client, you're going to get less and less of that as well. So be prepared for it, and it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smile and say no. No, I am not cutting my commission. You're so cute for asking. Thank you.
So funny. That is hilarious. And then in the South, we just say, bless your heart, that's the cutest thing. And we move right on.
Oh, bless your heart. I'm going to say that next time.
Bump you right on the nose there. All right. Well, Jenny, I'm sure you have to. You are exceptionally busy. You're always coaching clients, so I'm sure you've got another call to run to. So I want to give people kind of an opportunity to reach out and connect with you, and then you've got some resources that you have available. So what's the best way to reach out?
Sure. First of all, I want to share with you, part of the process is really finding out like how you're wired, how you respond to your environment, and we use a DISC profile to do that, and the DISC profile is very popular. Lots of people have taken it, but if you are interested in finding out what your 48-page profile has to say about you, then I will give it to you for free today if you want to email me, Genny, Genny, @getarealestatelife.com, and I will send you the link to fill out your 22 questions. That really will show you, one, prospecting methods that'll fit you, but another way that you stand out as uniquely you. So just email me, Genny @getarealestatelife.com. I'll send you that link, and that's the best way to contact me as well. And you should be able to see all of our Google Hangouts and get to see Matt even more often.
Nobody needs that. Me and Greg are running 3 times a week. I don't know if anybody needs any more of me. So
No more Matt. No more Matt.
Yeah. All right, so just a quick shout out again to Viral Marketing. Thank you so much for helping make Hangouts and podcasts like these happen. Make sure to check them out at getviral.com. And then Equity, if you're looking to generate the perfect number of buyer leads for a solo agent so you can consistently work them for business, just take the McDaniel Challenge, get a hold of Greg. And then, Greg, you want to give out your phone number once again?
I would love to, because my nights, I do not want to be dark and dingy by myself. Okay, so... guys, best number, he's shaking his head just like, I can't believe he said that on air. That's recorded forever.
Yeah.
Why did I partner up with this Yahoo? Best number for me, guys, 925, 915, 1978, 925, 915, 1978. If you are doing something fun in the shower listening to us and you can't write it down, just remember, go to McDanielChallenge.com and you can log a time, or actually just go there to tell you what to do.
Yeah, you put in your email, it gives you Greg's direct cell phone number, so you can text or call him and set up a time to chat. So that's it.
Yeah, guys. Simple. Yeah, we do this for you guys. We absolutely love you. We truly have a passion for this. We do this because of you. So please tell a friend, help us grow this, and get this in front of the people that need to hear what we're talking about, so that they can get out of the corporate grind, start making money, start creating a life of their dreams, spend more time with their kids, their wife, their spouse, their dog, their goldfish, whatever they want to spend time with, and just start making money and enjoy this process. Jenny's an absolutely massive resource. If you guys have heard here, take her up on her
seriously,
challenge.
Go to getarealestatelife.com. I mean, you've got products there, you've got all kinds of resources. The coaching that you do is incredible. I mean, not only do you help newer agents, you can take them and explode their business right off the bat, but you also work with some heavy hitters. I mean, we're talking about guys. I mean, you were telling me that some of your clients are doing what, 50, 60 million a year in production?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I have one client today who just went over the $30 million mark, and 150 transactions. So I actually have a video crew there now, giving champagne to their clients and taking that video so that we can document that, because that was way over our expected goals this year. So
that is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, so if you're an established agent and you're looking to build out your team, take your lead generation and your systems to the next level, to double your business and hit 100, 200, 300 transactions, seriously, talk to Jenny, email her, go to her website, check out the resources. Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear a lot more from Genny Williams. So I'm excited. I love doing the Hangouts with you. Thank you so much for coming on to our show. I really appreciate it. I knew that all 3 of us would get along really well. This was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you. I'm so glad I got to meet you, Greg. So
me too.
Thanks for letting me hang out with y'all today.
That's right.
We'll do it again.
That's right. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. If we don't see you before then, have a very Merry Christmas. We are back probably with, I think we've got an episode on Monday, the last episode before Christmas, and then we've got an episode on the 28th, the Monday after Christmas. So keep an eye out for those. If you'd rather, you can always go to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe there. If you love the videos, just head on over to YouTube. Make sure to subscribe there. So thank you so much again, guys, and have a great holiday.
See you guys.